part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
We're back.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You've been a little out of it this afternoon, so I wasn't
Update.
sure.
It's hot out there.
I know I've got some friends that are in Texas, and like 7 o'clock in the morning, it's 105.
Yeah. That's stupid.
It wasn't that bad here, but it's hot. 90s and like moist.
Yeah.
It's very moist out.
Why would you live somewhere where it's 100 degrees?
I wouldn't, personally. I would much rather just live in like Alaska. But that's just me.
That's just about you being away from people.
And the temperature is right.
Well, there's a few months there. It's a little rough.
I would much rather that than a few months where it's 100 degrees.
I take the heat over the cold.
You would?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I would much rather be cold.
You have never banged your knuckles on a frozen garage track when it's 2
have.
degrees out.
I have. Absolutely.
I'd rather have heat stroke. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining in. This is the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the sports collector.
And as always, we're brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network. That banter for a minute before we introduced ourselves was completely free. It didn't cost you any more.
Thank God, because it wasn't very good banter.
Or any less. But I am spent.
Yeah, it's pretty wiped. We were like, what do we got tonight? And we're trying to talk through things. And Jason looks at me 2 different times and I was like, can you just say that again? Because I have no idea what you just said.
Yeah, I might have damaged myself working in the heat. But a couple things I want to jump into right away. Sports-related news. We talked about it a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Home run derby.
Yeah.
So if you were one of those guys trying to flip that Pete along.
I mean, Pete is who I think he is.
Oh,
Said it for
stop.
2 years.
Here we go.
He's
Hey,
a good baseball player.
New drinking game for all the listeners. Every time Gary says, he is who I said he was, it went how I thought it would go. I said it from the beginning. You do a drink, and then you call an ambulance 20 minutes into the show. All right. But I want to talk about the big story, which was my favorite. Well, there's a couple big storylines here.
Okay.
First off, Albert Pujols is still rocking a beard from 2001.
Yeah.
Like, he still lives in Nellyville. Like, I guarantee you at some point him and Nelly hung out and Pujols had a Band-Aid on his
He still looks
cheek.
like he could bench press a house.
And he could.
Dude has pipes.
How has that guy passed all the mandatory drug screenings for performance-enhancing drugs?
Because I don't think he juices.
Genetically a freak.
Yes, correct.
And, by the way, like anybody that watched him throughout his career, like his body's pretty worn out. He was just throwing his hands at the ball and he was still hitting dingers.
Oh, yeah. He didn't hit any 440s, but he was knocking them out.
He was there.
There was
He
no
all
bonus
right.
time for him.
Yeah,
but
no bonus time. But that was awesome seeing him. It was cool seeing how young the kids were that are now pros, and they were still enamored to be in his presence.
Well, yeah, a lot of those guys, especially the really young guys, when they were in elementary school was his heyday.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're old.
I don't know about you, but when J-Rod started out and he just starts hitting them, I'll be like, take it easy there, young blood.
Listen, that kid. Oh, that kid's got a pretty swing. I mean, we all knew that it was a great swing.
Yeah.
But watching him in that environment where the great thing about watching a home run derby or even watching batting practice, but a home run derby specifically because they're trying to generate loft with the swing, is you get to see really how repeatable somebody's swing is. Mm-hmm. And they've got somebody throwing to him from 40 feet, and it's right where they want it. And so his swing looks the same. And you could always tell when he had a little hitch in his swing because when he did, it was a line drive. It was a double. I texted you 2 or 3 times, and I was like, oh, this guy's hitting doubles today. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
But that swing is just so compact. There's no wasted movement. And when he barrels up the ball, he hit a couple that were 480. You're just like, whoa.
You know, there's some differences with the swing, but fundamentally, it reminds me of someone else in Seattle that everybody loved a whole lot. I know that's a big statement.
Oh, Griff?
He looks like the kid a little bit.
He doesn't have the extension on the back end.
No, that's just the follow-through. But at contact, it's compressed. His hands are in close, and it's so explosive. It looks effortless. Compare that to Schwarber, who looks like he was swinging
out of
a
his shoes.
sledgehammer.
Yes. Schwarber looks like he should just be swinging a sledgehammer for a living.
Well, and that's most power hitters have that kind of a swing, or they're going for a trajectory. But to see J-Rod, what he did, the kid is special.
Oh yeah,
stay healthy. The league minimum was less than what he won.
Yeah, second
in the
place
Derby.
home run derby. Yeah,
So it was just fun to watch. Another big storyline. As we're looking at it. So Juan Soto, you probably have heard if you follow baseball. If not, this is a pretty cool story. So the Nationals offered him $440 million over how many years?
15. It was not a great deal.
Not a great deal. A lot of money.
Yeah, but it makes him like the 16th highest paid player in baseball.
Yeah. So he's like, no,
Not real
I'm
life.
super young. I guarantee you the terms of that contract, with it being that long.
Oh, it was backloaded.
Like,
It was super backloaded.
Yeah, he was like, nah. So he's like, I'll pass on that one. He's getting ready to go to the home run derby, and rather than the Nationals flying him out, he has to catch a commercial flight, and he goes and wins the freaking thing.
Yeah. Although I will say, and I heard a few people say this, I kind of fall in the camp. It's the same way I look at fantasy football or anything else. Julio Rodriguez literally hit 30 more home runs than Juan Soto did.
Yeah.
And Juan Soto won.
I like the old format where you get like 10 swings.
Oh, do you remember the old home run derby TV show from the 50s?
No.
So-
I wasn't born yet.
No, I wasn't either, but
I was born in 1985, Gary.
Nick at Night.
Do you have?
Nick at Night.
Hold on.
used to play.
Do you have a DeLorean?
No, but
Then you didn't watch it either.
I did, because Nick at Night
Night.
Yeah, used to play
I do
reruns.
remember this.
Yes.
I do.
They would play reruns of the old home run derby
Yes.
TV show, and it was the same. It was what you're talking about.
Yeah.
10 or 12 swings, strikes were
Yeah.
out, and
Yeah.
it was always fun. You'd watch Ted Williams and Lou Gehrig and these guys hit against each other. Ralph Kiner. Yeah, it was really fun to
Yeah.
watch. Bill Mazeroski.
And you get to see the stadiums, which
Yeah.
that was a really cool thing because those had all been plowed down.
Oh yeah,
Turned into mini
the
malls.
old polo grounds.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good point. I forgot about that.
So no, that it was, but yeah, I don't mind the format as it is now, but I would like to see them score the home runs points based on distance and all that type of stuff, and then it's a cumulative score. I get the drama created by the head-to-head. I know that
and
they like
I
that,
do like
but-
the bonuses for hitting a longer home run.
Yeah, I do too. But and the other thing that I really enjoyed, Krista, my wife, we were watching the home run derby together because my wife actually likes watching baseball, and I was calling home runs before they
You can
left.
tell.
Well, you can tell, but what you can really tell is you were getting ball speed, exit velocities, and you were getting launch angle.
Yeah.
And all I needed, anytime I see a exit and a launch speed, an exit velo over 105 and a launch angle over 28, it's a home run.
Yeah, you're a freaking nerd.
It's a home run.
I'm just
calling them out.
I just listen for the sound coming off the hickory.
Yeah, you can get some deep flies to center off that, though.
Yeah, if they're deep enough, that's all you need to worry about.
Yeah.
Can we also talk about how no one explains how these kids get to have the time of their life on the field? Nobody even knows how to become one of these kids catching fly balls in the home run.
I want to do that.
No kidding.
I would rip a hamstring 10 seconds in.
Oh, and you would try to lay out for the camera.
Oh, 100%.
You wouldn't be getting on. there's all these kids, and then you're in like
Just
a pink shirt,
plowing through these
getting
kids.
carted off the field.
I would just be plowing
the
through kids with my
bleachers are applauding.
SpongeBob socks on.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
Also, sitting in the bleachers for home run derby at a park like Dodger Stadium, that's got to be incredible.
It'd be like a mosh pit back there.
I will say it's a little weird in a stadium like that where you don't have like upper deck and different tiers, but it was also deceiving. It was a little harder to read the distance compared to other stadiums because of that too.
Yeah.
But like every time I was watching it, what was the play? The Dodger, Kirk Gibson with the broken knee. Like every time I saw a home run go to right field, I would remember. I was like, "That's the spot" because of the iconic roof.
Yeah.
The roof lines on that,
Yeah.
the architecture. So
Was that 88?
oh, I don't remember what year it
Was
was.
he at 85?
I
It might have
remember
been
he had a
85.
broken leg.
It was 85 because it was the Tigers. Yeah.
and that was the
85.
whitest celebration I've ever seen on a
Yeah.
home run. He just kept pulling the lawnmower rope.
Yeah.
All the way around the bases
Yeah.
and limping. Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Kirk Gibson was a heck of a player. I always wondered if he could have been a Hall of Fame football player.
Wow.
Well, at Michigan State, he was an All-American tight end, I believe. Yeah. And he had to make the choice, and he chose the longer career path, which, I mean, if you're making that choice, you're going to probably make more money and have a longer career playing baseball than playing football. So,
speaking of that exact same topic,
yeah.
Kyler Murray signs a massive deal. Somebody that could have gone pro in baseball.
Yeah. Was
Chose
a
football.
number 1 overall pick, right?
Started
To the A's?
throwing fits and like he was very passive. Very passive. Is he a millennial or younger than a millennial?
Now, he's 23, I think.
What's younger than millennial?
24? I don't know.
Well, what Gen Z.
I don't
Gen
pay
Z.
attention to any
Yeah.
of that stuff. I don't
Anyway, he was super passive aggressive last year, like taking all the Cardinals photos off his Instagram. Did you know about that?
care. Yeah.
And just like, I don't know what's going to happen next. Well, what's going to happen next is he's signing a huge deal.
5 for 230.
Yeah, 230.5.
Yeah, he's making 46.1 a year. He's the second highest paid quarterback in the league on yearly average, right behind Aaron Rodgers.
I really like Kyler Murray.
I do too. I'm not
Do you
sure how I
think
feel
he's
about
worth
Cliff
that
Kingsbury.
kind of contract?
Well, I do, and here's why I think that. When you watch Kyler Murray play, the first 8 to 10 games of the year, he looks like a world beater. And then defenses adjust, but his coach doesn't then readjust.
Yep.
And so I don't know that Kyler Murray's struggles in the late parts of seasons are him as much as it is Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury has a little bit of the I'm smarter than everybody in the room thing going on, and he gets stubborn with things sometimes, and it shows in kind of the fade the Cardinals have taken down the stretch the first 2 years he's been there. So
Yeah. But congrats to him.
Oh,
on that
for sure. Good
contract.
for Kyler Murray.
Deshaun is like, man, that was short-lived. Also,
Well, Deshaun's is all guaranteed, though.
I guess we can jump into that. And skip
Kyler's only
over.
got $160 million guaranteed in that deal.
Well, yeah, and there's, I was listening to
Only.
a different podcast where it was like there's two different types of guarantees. There's a guarantee where it's like you got to stay healthy, and
Well, you
there's
got
a
full guarantee, and then you got guarantee for injury.
Yeah.
So guarantee for injury means that if you get hurt during that year of the contract, you will get paid your full guarantee. But if the team just cuts you, then you're
like
not.
what? All right, what are you doing? You get a contract, and the next year you're going to get $40 million. After Uncle Sam, what are you left with?
Well, after Uncle Sam and after agent fees and all that stuff, he'll take home probably 20.
Yeah. What's the first big purchase you're making?
Me personally?
Yeah. Please say another Can-Am Spider.
No, I would probably.
Hold on, I need to laugh at my own joke.
Are you done?
I just pictured you with like a fresh pair of capris and like a white helmet
hate you so
riding
much.
in your
Oh, you're such a dick. Okay.
Okay.
No, I think that I would probably. This is going to sound super nerdy. I would probably buy a 40 or 50 unit apartment complex.
That's so boring.
Yeah. I have all the stuff I want.
I was going to take all my best friends around the world.
Well, you said the first thing I would buy.
That's the first thing I buy.
Oh, that's not the first thing I buy.
Hey, you're
I
on a
would
week
probably-
of vacation. Oh, I can't take a week off. How much?
Well, to go around the world, we're going to need a lot more. than a
$20
week.
million?
We're going to need a lot more in a week.
Okay.
We're going to need a couple months.
Well, in the first week, that's the decision I made.
Oh, okay. I would buy the housing. I would buy the.
I don't know what you're going to
apartment
do
complex
that week, but all my best friends are going around the world. That was a good one.
All right.
Hobby news. Not a ton going on, but we got a couple things.
It's a little dry.
If you didn't know, like basically everything goes into a stall leading up to the National, which is what, next week?
Yep.
Whatever. Who likes Atlantic City? Not me. Anyway, I'm just jealous that I'm not going.
Did you see the Panini VIP ticket price?
No.
$68,000.
What's that get you?
It gets you about 80
A
grand.
box of Hobby NFL.
It gets you about 80 grand worth of product. It was like 12 cases of product and like 300 of the Panini Silver National packs and like 175 of the gold. Like it's about $100,000 worth of stuff if you were going to turn around and sell it at retail.
$30,000 worth of Classics football.
Yeah, no, it was like Noir basketball and Prism. It's like cases of Prism. Like it was legit. If you had 68 grand, it's a great deal.
I don't feel like spending my 68 grand on that.
No, I got mortgages to pay.
That's right. Up next,
PWCC.
PWCC.
Okay.
So now, not only is the business working with CSG because you have to have a graded card to put on the
Their
selling
marketplace,
platform, but now BGS is involved.
Yep.
So what does that do? What does that change for them?
So
Does it erase the stain of eBay?
Well, I mean, I don't know that it ever erases the stain of eBay, but here's the reality. Anybody in this hobby knows that most consigners are shilling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like PWCC got the boot because it was glaringly obvious, and eBay knew they were launching their own platform soon, so they were trying to take that out from under them a little bit and put a little stank on them. But so their new deal with BGS is you send PWCC a raw card for their auction house. You can choose to have that then sent to either CSG or BGS. I think CSG it's like $20 and BGS it's like $50. It's an expedited process. I think BGS is like 20 days, and then the grading fee will come out of your auction fees. It'll just be tacked onto your auction fees at the end. One thing to keep in mind with PWCC though, there's a little caveat in their
Not so little caveat.
yeah, there's a little caveat in their terms of service that if you're thinking about using them to sell stuff, you may want to be aware of, and you may not want to send them something super high end and super niche for this reason, unless you negotiate to have this caveat taken out of your contract with your rep. If you send them a card for auction and it does not sell, you forfeit ownership of the card to PWCC.
What?
So
Hold on. I have a card that's worth 10 grand.
Yep.
High ticket card.
Yep.
You have to work to find sellers for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell. Maybe it doesn't meet minimum reserve bid or starting bid or whatever. Nothing moves. PWCC owns the card.
Correct.
Do they offer a restructure of how it's going to sell now that they own it? Do they give you a kickback?
I have no idea. I just know that
Are they
clause
just
exists
this
in the
slimy of a
contract.
company? Is that what this is?
Well,
It just seems super
I think what it
shady.
boils down to is what you just said. They're doing a lot of work on the back end, on that higher end stuff, like Golden does. I mean, Golden has dedicated reps for their certain customers that have high end stuff, and these reps are calling buyers from their buyers list. Hey, this is going to be on auction. That you should look at this. Like,
Is
it's
this
like an
just
auction
in
house.
place to keep people from putting ridiculous reserves on this stuff?
I think that is there, and I think it's also in place to keep people from just trying to sell idiotic stuff.
Yeah.
But I know there was a guy for a fact who had a pretty rare hockey card, and part of the problem is knowing what to send to platforms. Like, so if you're going to send something to PWCC, make sure that it's something that gets traction on
What
the
have they sold a
platform.
lot of recently?
Yeah, like they don't sell a lot of hockey stuff, and let's be honest, high-end hockey collectors are a pretty small niche.
Yeah,
It's a pretty small niche. So if you got a $5,000-$6,000 Connor McDavid rookie, you're either going to want to start the bids low, or you're not going to want to send it to someplace like PWCC because you might not own that Conor McGregor rookie anymore.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
Other hobby news. This is interesting to me. I just saw this written down by you.
oh yeah,
Daniel Jones Shield RPA 1/1 sells for $56K.
yeah, Flawless sold for $56,400 this week.
Do you think Daniel Jones will be with the Giants for much longer?
Daniel Jones is a real weird one for me because when I
I
watch,
still like him.
when I watch film of Daniel Jones, every year he's gotten better. He has tool sets. He can run. His turnover issues are much more fumble related than they are interception related. Daniel Jones has been playing behind basically a mid-tier college offensive line with almost no skill help around him his whole career. Saquon Barkley, I think, has played a total of 12 games in 3 years with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
That offensive line has been horrifyingly bad. The receiving core has been really bad. Your best receiver has been a tight end for 3 years, and he's a tight end who struggles with drops a little bit. I just think that there's a lot of talent there with Daniel Jones, but they didn't pick up his fifth-year option. He's playing for his job this year. If they can stay healthy, if the offensive line can protect him, I think Daniel Jones might surprise some people.
Yeah, think about that last sentence followed by that 1/1 sold for $56K.
It did, but you think about what the Kyler Murray of that went for, which is 3 times that.
And Kyler Murray.
Let's put it this way. That Daniel Jones card, if the Giants make a playoff run, it's worth $120.
If money's no option and it's for sale, what price point are you a buyer at on that card?
On that card?
Yeah.
If money's no object, probably right around there.
Okay.
Because I think I can very easily double my money.
I'm about halfway there. I think that's a high risk. That's a high risk play.
Well, but you just said if money's no option. If money's no
buying
object,
it,
risk becomes much less of a factor.
Okay. Well, I didn't know you were going to nerd out on me.
Then I'm looking at what can I buy that has the most potential for a huge return. I think that card has massive potential for a huge return. Yeah. If you mortgage your house to buy it, you're a moron.
Yeah, you dummies. If you're listening to this and you did that was stupid.
Yeah.
All right, NFL, back to it. Training camps kicking off next week. I can't wait for football to be back on TV.
Oh.
I can't wait. How many?
Monday,
between
Thursday,
that and college,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
If you're real degenerate, you can watch WAC games on Tuesdays and MAC games on Tuesdays.
Nobody's doing that. All right. Watson update. They're guesstimating somewhere between 2 to 8 games suspension.
That's what the Browns are planning for.
So, a couple of things. This is a conversation I keep hearing. Other podcasts are talking about it too. What does this decision from the Honorable, what's her name, Sue?
Something like that.
What does her decision mean about his culpability in the accusations versus what it means about the player conduct policy?
Well, so her decision has nothing to do with his culpability. Her decision is entirely based around looking at the evidence, applying the player conduct policy to the evidence at hand, and then determining what is a fair solution.
So if that is the case, and so far we have 20-some settlements, and we have 4 people still pending with cases where we don't know what's going to happen, and you're looking at the evidence. Criminal hearing has been thrown out. That's not happening. Nobody's pressing criminal charges.
There are no criminal charges to be pressed.
So how do we arrive at a decision?
Well, I think that the NFL has a problem on their hands. The NFL's problem is very simple. The league personnel and player conduct policy, because that's what it is. It's not just a player conduct policy. It's a player and personnel conduct policy. States unequivocally that owners and league personnel shall be held to a higher standard than players. Not may, shall be held to a higher standard than players. We've got one owner who was on film getting a tuggy, nothing. No discipline whatsoever. We've got another owner who has such a dumpster fire of a franchise that he's being investigated by Congress for toxic workplace environment. No punishment. And then you've got Deshaun Watson, who's a famous dude who probably looked at some massage people and went, hey, why don't we get a little something going on?
I'll bring my own towel.
Yeah. Like, nobody, not one single person has accused Deshaun Watson of rape. Not one. No, 2 different grand juries looked at the evidence and went, yeah, nothing criminal happened here. I think realistically, Deshaun Watson very much likely used his celebrity as a way to get a little punani. And he liked to do it with massage
those of you who don't
people.
know what punani is, it's a special massage.
Which, is that right? Of course it's not right. But it's definitely not criminal. And if the player conduct...
We don't know what he did to get that punani.
Well, we don't, but we also
That's really
know that there's no evidence of anything criminal.
Yet.
What do you mean yet? 2 grand juries have looked at the evidence and went, yeah, no.
So this is kind of what I'm getting at. How much of this is the court of public opinion on this decision?
Well, I definitely think the league is going to be... The league's pressing for their suspension that they want for optics.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
100%.
I'm not saying this is a good guy.
Yeah.
I'll just put it out there. I don't think... I mean, the guy can't keep a massage therapist. I feel like every other quarterback that's good at their job has somebody that's really good at taking care of them.
I think he probably has somebody for that.
Well,
but
that's
then
what
he has lots of other people for what he was doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm implying.
Yeah.
So, but we're in a spot where this person's going to decide, and then it's still going to go back and forth.
Well, you've literally got a situation where the Texans just paid off a bunch of these women because there was quite a bit of evidence that the Texans were setting up these appointments for Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. So, all that being said, the league finds themselves in a real wonky spot because the court of public opinion says if we don't see some pretty major punishment for Deshaun Watson, you're going to have protests outside of stadiums.
And Deshaun Watson saying, I'm suing if anything happens.
Correct. And Deshaun Watson saying, okay, that's fine, but you have a policy in place. And your policy doesn't say, based on what public opinion is, we can do X, Y, Z. And the Players Association has said flat out, we will take this to the Supreme Court if we have to. Because you're not going, and for them, it's not a question of whether Deshaun Watson was in the right or the wrong. It's a question of you have a policy and you're not enforcing it equitably. Mm-hmm. And the entire purpose of a collectively bargained situation is to have an equitable enforcement of whatever was collectively bargained. Mm-hmm. So it's a sticky one. If the league, if this person comes out and says, hey, we're going to do a 4-game suspension, and the league is like, okay, we'll live with that and doesn't try to add more to it, I think that Deshaun Watson bites his tongue, takes the suspension, and then comes back in week 5 and plays the rest of the year. Yeah. If it's a 2-game suspension and the league goes, well, we're not happy with that, we want 12, it's going to get ugly. Mm-hmm. And while the appeals process is happening, Deshaun Watson will play.
Yep. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So,
all right, let's keep an NFL and a little more positive note,
Yeah.
Let's talk about some NFL breakout players. So you got a little list for me here.
One for each division.
Yeah, one for each division. Here's players that are breakout, which means they might break out, which means in the hobby, they may be more affordable now than they will be in a few months, which also means it could be a good flip.
And that was much more of the focus when I was putting this list together, was not just because if it was just like NFL players that are going to have massive seasons, I would have had players like Christian Barmore and guys like that, defensive players that Christian Barmore put up more unassisted quarterback pressures his rookie year in New England than Aaron Donald did his rookie year.
Yeah, and this is their potential to break out in the game, which will have a direct correlation to the hobby, but it's not necessarily saying these are easy flips or anything.
Which means these are all going to be offensive players.
Yep.
So,
all right, up first, AFC South, Evan Ingram.
So Evan Ingram, we just talked about a little bit with Daniel Jones, really athletic tight end. Here's the change that I think opens up a world of amazingness possibly for Evan Ingram. Goes to Jacksonville. Doug Peterson is the head coach. Doug Peterson's tight ends historically have around 35 to 40% of the target shares in the offense. And he's never had a tight end with the athletic skill set that Evan Ingram has. Mm-hmm. He's had Zach Ertz, good tight end, not great. Dallas Goedert, not as athletic as Evan Ingram. Both guys who've had really great seasons in Doug Peterson offenses. Doug Peterson is going to be such a stabilizing force for Trevor Lawrence that it's not funny. And Jacksonville has a much improved receiving core. I've said it 10 times. I don't think $72 million to Christian Kirk was a smart move, but he's a big upgrade. So between Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram, that passing offense should be pretty good.
All right, up next, AFC North, Donovan Peoples-Jones. One of my favorite names phonetically in the league.
Yep. So, again, all this is contingent upon Deshaun Watson playing the majority of the season. But if he does, Amari Cooper on one side, a healthy Amari Cooper, and Donovan Peoples-Jones on the other side, he's made real strides both years in the league. This could be his breakout year in Cleveland. All right. And his stuff's cheap right now.
Up next, AFC East. I'm surprised to see who I'm seeing here, but...
Are you?
No. Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis, best offense in the division in Buffalo. He had his coming out party in the playoffs last year against the Chiefs. He had 4 touchdowns in that game, like 170 yards. Had a really solid season leading up to it, but Josh Allen trusts him, and he's got Stephon Diggs across from him, so you can't double him. You're giving safety help to Stephon Diggs. It would not shock me to see a 75, 1,200, 10 touchdown season from Gabe Davis. If that happens, his stuff will triple, and you can buy pretty nice Gabe Davis rookie cards cheap right now.
Up next is one I'm really interested in.
Okay.
AFC West, a player that had so much hobby hype and love, and people are still holding on a lot of slabs, but you got David Carr up here on the AFC West.
Yeah, so David Carr, when you think about breakout guys, he's not a guy you think about as a breakout as far as NFL play goes. He's been around for a while, and I think most people consider him to be a borderline top 10 quarterback in the league. When he's on, he's really good. But that team has done so much to build around him this year, and now he's got Devontae Adams. You might see a 4,500, 4,800, 40 touchdown season from David Carr. And his stuff is not stupid cheap, but it's way cheaper than it should be based on his total career production. That's a guy that I'm scooping right now, rookie stuff of, especially raw when I can find it. He puts up an MVP level season, you'll triple your money.
Up next, you have a typo.
I have a typo? You're talking real quiet. I can barely hear you.
You've got NFC South, Matt Ryan.
Oh, I do have a typo. You're
Let's talk
right.
about Matt Ryan.
He's in the AFC South now. I wanted him to be on this list from a hobby standpoint, though, because, again, stuff's cheap. Colts are going to be really good.
Colts are going to be good. Hey, do you want to double down on your 13 to 14 games?
I said 12 to 13, not 13 to 14.
What's it going to take to get you 13 to 14?
It won't. I don't think they got a 14
There's a
season
one-game margin. You're
12,
good.
12 to 13. Well, you look at the schedule.
I know.
12 to 13. Matt Ryan's rookie stuff, again, pretty cheap. To me, he's a dark horse MVP candidate. Would not shock me to see 3,800 yards and 30 touchdowns and very low number of interceptions. And if that happens, they make a deep playoff run. Think about what Matt Stafford's stuff did last year. Think about what Matt Stafford's stuff did. I could see Matt Ryan's doing very similar things.
All right.
That was the NFC South, right?
Yeah. NFC North.
Oh, we didn't have an NFC South guy. So, okay, I was going to try to pull one off the top
no
of my
love.
head.
No
okay.
love. Mooney.
Darnell Mooney, yeah. So Cleveland Bears, Chicago Bears. Woo! You're not the only one a little fried. The Chicago Bears, they can't be worse, right? I don't think they can be worse. The Matt Nagy era is mercifully over. They're not going to be good, but
Hugh Jackson up there.
Darnell Mooney made real strides last year. He and Justin Fields have a really good connection. And again, it's a guy whose stuff is pretty cheap. You can buy rookie autos for $20, 18 to $20. Again, another guy that would not shock me to see 75 to 80 catches and 11 to 1,200 yards and 10 to 12 touchdowns. Allen Robinson type numbers, taking over as the number one there with a healthy Justin Fields and a competent coaching staff.
All right. NFC East, Kadarius Toney.
Tied to Daniel Jones, Kadarius Toney was dinged up a lot last year, but you saw glimpses. I think he had a 230-yard game. His toolbox is really, really full. The dude is fast. He makes guys miss. He's got really good hands. If his route running improves just a smidge to where he can get some separation on quick stop and breaking routes, you could see a really, really big jump on his stuff.
I like that one. And then finally, NFC West. When all the hype was happening, all the ultra modern, everybody's getting everything graded, there's a lot of people sitting on a lot of these slabs.
Yep.
Drew Lock.
Seattle, I can't see that he doesn't beat out Geno Smith. He's got
Shout out to Geno Smith. How long's he been in the league now?
a minute. A hot minute.
He's approaching some Fitzpatrick type of.
Well, no, because
Not
Fitzpatrick.
production.
No, not even close. He's been around for a while, but
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick. You look at his career numbers; they're sneaky strong.
Yep.
Drew Lock should win that job. He'll have a really good tight end in Noah Fant. He's got DK Metcalf. He's got Tyler Lockett. He's got Dwayne Eskridge.
Weapons.
He's got weapons. Decent offensive line. you can buy his stuff real cheap. And that was the thought process here. Who can you buy cheap and make some money on breaking out? And I think Drew Lock is a guy that you could really see some bang for your buck on.
That's a good little segment. I like that.
Yeah, you like
might
that?
have to bring that one back.
All right.
Breakout players.
Cool.
That's good. I have to pee.
I guess that means we're done.
We're done. This has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.